Welcome back, guys. Today we'll be cleaning up a bit more of what we had with the mine.get from last time. And the reason why we're cleaning up is because with the setup that we did last time for mine.get is not exactly feasible to use for a kitchen test. And let me show you exactly what I mean. So I've got a split pane window open here, and I'm going to open each of them, each of the problems here. So first off is I've got the index.html set for this Apache. And let's keep that in mind. And second one, I've got this app.py over here. Now, this would be fine if we were working on a non-virtualized environment for testing. However, it's a problem if we were to test it locally in our virtualization environment. So if we have it in AWS, that's fine. This will probably work without an issue. If we don't have it in AWS when we're testing it on a virtual machine, we are going to have an issue. That's because our states are no longer idempotent. And what I mean by idempotent is because they rely on so much more now than they used to. And let me explain that. On our virtualized kitchen environment, we're not going to have another minion named web01. So when this mine.get is trying to gather the IP of web01, it's not going to find anything. It's going to throw an error. And this mine.get is likely not even going to run. It's probably going to throw an error. And same thing here in our app.py. This will definitely fail because this is going to be using the minion config on etc salt, but on kitchen, the minion config is in temp/kitchen/etc salt. So this will likely fail. This may not be okay, but it's not going to find any IP address, and then it's going to be basically just putting a blank here. This one is going to be an issue. So what we're going to do is that we're going to go ahead and set a manual role. We're going to set a grain manually. So if you think in terms of salt, it's like salt, target the minion, grains.set, and then whatever it is. But instead, in our case, in our kitchen environment, we're going to setting it up here. We're going to be setting a grain here. A grain is going to be called role, and the role is going to be development. So if role is development, then run this. And if it's not development, then run that kind of deal. You sort of get the idea. So let's go ahead and set the role. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the docs up for kitchen salt, and let's see what the grains look like. I believe it's just grains : but I want to be absolutely sure. Oops. Okay, so here we are at the docs, and there it is, grains. Okay, so, and I was right. I can just set it at the provisioner level. I'm not going to set it at the provisioner level because all of them are going to be, so the master provisioner is going to set the role grain, or set the grain role. So this is the master provisioner. These would be the suite provisioners down here. So at the master provisioner, I will just say grains. I believe it's grains with an S. Yeah, grains, and I'll say it's just like how it is in the example. So role, and we'll say it is development, and we'll also say web. Just actually, if we're gonna do it that way, and let me cut this out rather than copy. We will put it at the suite level. So on this one, grains role, and so on. So let's put the provisioner here. And then we'll move grains over, roll over one more, and then there we go. Okay, so the web instances will have the provisioner. The provisioner will be setting grains, and it's going to set role and development. So basically, these two grains will be there upon during convergence time. So now that we've got that there, we're going to refactor this. So instead of saying set web01, we can say like if grains role is development exists, or if development exists in Grains role, because this is a list, then set the IP to whatever, and if it's not, then set it to this. We could set it that way, or we can have two different actual files, one for development, one not for development. And I would rather do it that way, one for development and one not for development, because I know it's like a lot of work to actually keep the two files in sync, but it's a lot more work to see through the logic. And if you have a large file, especially a large template, Jinja template, to see through the logic of what's set for development, what's not set for development. So that can get a little hairy. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove this, and I'm also going to remove this for now on. Okay, so this is just for Apache, so this is index.html, and then I will say here in my file declaration, so if grains, was it role, oh yeah, sorry, if development in grains role, then do, and it can be the same title, because both of these states won't run in the same machine. So name /var /HTML /index.html, and the user will still be Apache. Oops, and then the group will be Apache. Mode will be 644. Basically the same as what we have down below. And source salt//Apache templates, except for this part. So this will, I'll name this development index.html template Jinja. Right, so that's that. Else, and I'll tab this over. And I'm not going to use the hyphens that keep the spacing, so that stays intact. So else is going to run this. I'll tab this over. I don't think the tabbing will be an issue, but we'll find out. So, and then we'll end it, because in Jinja we actually do have to end it. Okay, so this will run either this file or this file, and I have to create this development index.html. And in this file here, actually, let's go ahead and put those back. We will set that. And in the development index.html, we will say hello from Salt, and then let's see what we've got here. So in this one, we're setting web01 IP to that. We'll just set web01 IP to 2.2.2.2. And then we'll say web01 IP, and that's that. So it looks like that. So we'll see. Let's save it real quick. So we will see the 2.2.2.2 here, which is our development IP. And in the real index.html, we will see the web01 IP. So that way we can go ahead and sort of differentiate between the two without having too much logic in one file. And I know it's a little upkeep, but it works. So on the app.py here, we'll be doing sort of the same thing. So we can still use this, or we can use Jinja, but I think Jinja in Python is sort of redundant, and not redundant, but a little unnecessary. Well, actually, it can be a little unnecessary actually. But there are ways to do it. There are benefits to Jinja in Python. So the benefit is that we don't actually have to specify the configuration file. The Jinja runner will automatically know the configuration file for the minion, and then it'll know that it's local, and then we don't have to worry about that. That's where the downside of using the Salt client library is that whenever we use this, we have to specify the config file for the minion, and then it gets a little hairy because we have to know where the config file is going to be in each time, and it's always going to remain the same. It's going to be in temp kitchen etc salt for this kitchen variable, but if need be, it's actually a little easier to use Jinja in that case. So we'll give it a shot with Jinja, and then we'll see what it looks like without, and then you guys can sort of pick and choose what you would do. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is sort of the file I would use in production. However, let's go ahead and work with the Jinja part, and then we'll see the differences between the two. So let's go ahead and get rid of the library. Actually, let's comment them out because that's a lot easier. So we'll comment out that, and we'll comment out the import. And then what we'll do is that we'll just say here, so format web01 IP as web01 0, but instead we'll put it in Jinja here. Oops. We'll put it in Jinja here for web01 IP. So we'll be like that. So grains, how do we have it here? This, we need this first. But instead of setting this, we're just gonna set the development one instead. So we can use this for production, and this will get the production IP, and we'll have like another similar file. We'll just set web01 to 2222 and then go from there. So this is production. So let's create a new file. So development app.py. And then that will have this as web01. And this is where it gets a little difficult. So development app.py, and then when we do the declaration in the init.sls, which is right here, so we can do the same thing. Oops. So if development in grains role, then create app not managed name /flask app.py. So source is different. So source is salt flask app templates, and it's development app.py. User root, group root, and mode is 0755. Okay, so else it's going to go ahead and do this block. Okay, so in this case, it'll either do this one or this one. And if you look at, and we actually need to set the template to Jinja. Template Jinja. And let me make sure I got that right over here in this Apache. Yeah, template Jinja. Okay, cool. So, and we'll set the template Jinja here as well. Template Jinja. So in the development app.py, I've got, yep, that's set. Okay, spectacular. So this way we can just go ahead and set it via Jinja, and it should read this. So it should say set web01 IP to 2222, and then this should go ahead and call web01 and then get the IP. So, but instead, let me fix that. So this will just say web01 IP, and then That's it. So, and that's fine. We can do it this way. This way, we don't have to use the caller and specify the configuration for the minion to perform the job. The difference is that when you do the kitchen conversions or the high state, this will, if you use the Jinja method, it will get laid down during the high state. When you use the Salt client, it's gonna pull it after when the application starts, which is after the high state, because that's the last thing to run. But it's not within the same stream as a high state, so it's not gonna go ahead and pick it up from Salt. It's actually gonna call a different process for the minion to pick up the IP from Web01 if you use the library. So that's the difference. And in fact, let's go ahead and see this work. I'm going to go ahead and run a kitchen conversions really quick. One thing before, last time I did conversions, I didn't realize this. So I just want to make sure I bring it up. This here, this didn't actually install the pip package, and I actually forgot to name this. This should be Python pip. But this didn't install the pip package, and then all of this used to fail. So make sure you guys have something like this. You guys can use the curl, which with cmd.run. If this fails, I'm going to definitely use the curl one, and it just use cmd.run, and the name of the command is curl get pip.py. And you can use the URL for getpip.py. Just Google getpip.py, and then you'll see like the script run up, or the script appear like one of the first few searches. And then just curl that and then pipe it to Python. And that will go ahead and install pip. I'll show you an example of that in a minute, but let's go ahead and converge this. So kitchen converge, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a pause here, and I will get back to you guys as soon as this is done. Okay, so it did run. A couple things to note. First of all, I did have to remove the tabs over, so I unindented the blocks inside the conditional. Second thing is I forgot the S in grains, so make sure you do that. And that's pretty much it. So we've got our kitchen converged. Let's go ahead and log in. And we should see our Apache set to the 2222 development IP as well as the app.py. Actually, I can already see it in app.py right here. See, it's already picked up 2222. But let's take a look at Apache as well. And it says hello from Salt 2222. So if I do curl localhost hello from Salt 2222, and this should also run. So 8000. It looks like it couldn't connect for some reason. It is port 8000, and it's on host this. Let's see now. Maybe it didn't start properly. Let's take a look. And it's because of the format here. See, I actually set this as a variable, not as a string, and since it's not a string, it's actually failing. So, or sorry, since it's not a string, it's actually failing. So that's another downfall here. So we need some sort of a string interpolation here. Actually, that's not the right file. Let me see. This is for the, yeah, that's it. Okay, so this is 2222, and this is dot format. It needs to be 2222. That is set IP. See, this is where it gets a little tricky because this is reading it as a variable. And if you look at it, it's reading it as a variable or like something that already exists, like an object instead of a string. So it's not putting the quotes around it. So we would need to do something like this here. Even though technically in the declaration in Jinja, it's got single quotes here. And so you have to be careful with that when using it in a Python environment. So let's go ahead and converge that. And actually I saw another error in the actual app.py. This is not grain. And this would also need to be in string format too, in case it's not. So let's fix that. And let's do another convergence. Again, I'll be back in a second. Okay, so this time it looked like it did actually read it as a string. So let's go ahead and log in. It did, it looks like it started. So let's see. Oh, there it is. It says, hello from Salt. This is the IP from Webble 1, 2222. So this time it did work, which is great. But again, you have to be careful because even though the declaration did have quotes around it, it doesn't look like it got interpolated as a string. It looks like it just sort of passed it on. And when it did pass it passed it on as as an object, which is actually a Jinja thing because Jinja doesn't put quotes when it's putting variables there, but in Python, it should pass the quotes. However, this isn't a Jinja declaration, so that's the difference. The other way we would be doing this, and let me just show you hypothetically. I'm not actually gonna bother converging it, so let's just show you. So here, we would call mined IPs with the MD opts, I believe. Or is it mops? Yeah, is equal to /temp/etc /temp/kitchen/etc/salt/minion. Right? So that would go ahead and then run mined_ip or get mine.get for web01, and which would return nothing. So when you call the variable here, so we would erase this and call web01 IP, it would get absolutely nothing. And it would actually run into an error because the mine.get gets in a dictionary format and the dictionary within a list. So you would need to call the dictionary key and then the first item in the list, and then, but it would, since it wouldn't return anything in this virtual environment, it's gonna say this is not a dictionary, this is not a list, and it's gonna throw an error and basically crash the Flask application from running. So that's another problem to take care of there. And that's too many if-thens to consider. It's easiest to just go with Jinja. But again, you have to be careful as like whenever you declare it in Jinja, just like we would in Chef and Ruby for string interpolation, you have to do it like this. All right? So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please do like and subscribe. I wanted to inform you guys, I did register on Patreon. I'm not sure how much worth I'm going to get out of registering on Patreon, but I have high hopes. If you would like to donate some money to the Patreon, every little bit counts. I'm not trying to make a business out of this exactly. What I'm trying to do is just cover the costs of the servers and the equipment that I use. So if you would like to go ahead and donate on Patreon, the link is below in the description. Donate as much as you want or as little as you want. I'm not going to pester you anymore after this video. The link will be in every video that I upload from now on. But this is the only time I'm gonna ask for it. Like, I'm not gonna ask for it. I'm just gonna inform you of it. So I'm on Patreon, and I do have a blog now on Blogspot, and I'm gonna post some of my articles there, and any article I post related to this is also going to be on there. So if you want to see like a written detailed one rather than watching these videos, you'll find it there as well. So thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next video. In the next video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going ahead, and now that we've got these development things set up, we're going to be going back to our test infra, making sure that these files are created, they're in the right mode, and so on with our test infra. And then after that, we will probably go into setting up test infra to test on EC2 directly rather than testing on the kitchen VM, and meaning that it will use the Salt backend to connect and make sure the files get deployed and so on. That's a different form of testing. It's not exactly the local file and check processes and so on that we've actually done previously. After that, I haven't decided quite yet. I was thinking about going into SaltStack. Again, still not sure if I want to go into it just yet. SaltStack is sort of like an all-in-one, so it can do testing, like test infra, but it can also do, if you've ever heard of, there's this application, I don't remember the name of it. I always Qualys. It's a CVE scanner or a compliance scanner, so that can integrate well with Salt. I'm thinking about going into that one, and so I've explored quite a bit of SaltStack, but not in depth. So I would need to research it, and of course, and then try and teach it to you guys, and make sure that I do provide the right information. And once I decide on that, whether to do SaltStack or not, I'm going to go ahead and start on the Elk stack and include the test for the Elk stack or so on. I may include some other form of testing in between SaltStack and test infra, but we'll see about that. After this, these are going to be my only videos that I post on YouTube as related to SaltStack. After my SaltStack teaching videos are complete, I'm going to go ahead and start teaching Terraform, because I believe that's also an important information in the DevOps world that people should know. So it's going to be Terraform, and I'm going to have to teach it in Udemy from there on, because I would like to make some sort of an income. Forgive me for being a little, I guess greedy is the right word, but I would like to make some sort of an income out of it. So I would probably put it on Udemy or some other platform and make it as cheap as possible. I think on Udemy, the cheapest I can go is $20. And they have sales going on that was like 90% off every now and then. And I'm okay with that. I wouldn't mind it if people paid like $2, $3, or $5 for it. I'd be perfectly content with that. But it's just like I have to be able to pay for the equipment, and I've been doing this for about a few months now, and I'm just like spending money on the AWS instances and spending money on the equipment that I bought to teach you guys this. I would like to have some sort of a return there. But that's far in the future. I don't really, if things go well for me, then I don't want any return, and I'll just put it all on YouTube and go from there. All right, so I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll hope to see you then. Bye.